Good morning guys and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a video for you that was a little bit unexpected. I was just inspired to do today's video and I do have a lot of perfumes to share with you guys. I have perfume blind buy purchases that were fails. I have a purchase that I actually made in person that turned out to be a fail, so it wasn't blind. I have quite a few that were amazing and like some of my best finds so far of 2023. Samples that I've discovered of perfumes that are incredible and I want to share with you guys. So I have a lot of content coming up, but today's video is something a little bit different. I was just kind of browsing YouTube and up popped this video from a girl whose channel is Carmen Scentrix. I will link her channel down below if you guys want to check her out. She did a video about toxic perfume traits that she herself has, and also toxic perfume traits that are common among a lot of us in the perfume community. And I watched her video and I immediately related to quite a few of her points, and it really inspired me to do my own kind of take on this video. So a couple of the points that she did mention, I sort of repeated here in this video, but there's a few other perfume traits or toxic perfume traits that I thought about. I just thought it was a really interesting topic and I wanted to share with you guys. So if you are a perfume collector or perfume enthusiast, I'm sure that you will be able to relate to quite a few of these sort of toxic perfume traits. And I would love to hear your comments down below. Let me know if you can relate to any of these points or if there's another toxic perfume trait that you yourself have or you've seen in other people that you would like to talk about below. I think it's a really interesting concept, and it's also really good to bring awareness to some of these bad habits that we have as people who are really into perfume. So without further ado, let's get started in today's video. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I talk about perfume a lot here, so if you like that kind of thing, I would love if you would consider subscribing. And without further ado, let's get started in today's video. Okay, so toxic perfume trait number one is getting excited about perfumes too quickly, essentially. So this is also making rash purchases only to end up not liking the perfumes literally a day or two later. I actually had that happen to me recently on vacation. I purchased a perfume that I thought that I loved in the store. I even wore it on my skin. I thought that I loved it that day. And then literally the day or the next day after, I realized it wasn't going to work out. So, and that was a couple $100s later. It wasn't like it was a cheap purchase. So getting excited about perfumes too quickly. The other thing is getting excited about a perfume and sharing it on my channel with my audience, only to realize literally a week or two later that it wasn't what I thought it was, or it's not going to work out for me. And this is something that's happened to me numerous times. And as someone who has a perfume channel, I'm sure that some people can be a little bit confused or put off when I rave about a perfume in a video and then a couple weeks later I say, I don't really think it's working out for me. And that's very understandable. And as much as I have every right to change my mind, just as we all do, I also understand that as a creator, I also have a duty to make sure that perfumes that I'm sharing with people, I'm giving you my absolute and my best, most comprehensive, like final idea about a perfume before I share it, because perfume can change. Sometimes you smell it the first week and you love it, the next week it doesn't jive with you, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer for that to happen, or sometimes you think you don't like a perfume and then a few days later, a few weeks later, you realize you really do like that perfume. So what I've been doing to sort of amend this is to really take my time with a perfume and trying to make a decision about a perfume in the comfort of my own home after having a few days or a couple of weeks with that perfume at the bare minimum and giving it a wear test and doing all of those kind of things. Perfume really can wear differently once you get it on your skin as compared to when you first spray it on the box or at the atomizer or on a paper strip. Point number one is getting excited too fast about a perfume and making a decision and then changing that decision quickly afterwards. So like I said, I've been trying to give perfumes just a little bit more time in the comfort of my own home, really give them a wear test before making a final decision about, is this going to stay or is this going to go, and sharing it with the world. Okay, point number two is very similar to point number one, and it is basically buying a perfume too quickly and ending up wasting my money. So on day one, trying it in the store, not taking much time with it, thinking that I love it, bringing it home, and ending up not liking it. So unfortunately for me, I don't live anywhere near a department store. I have to go a long ways from home to find a Neiman's, a Saks Fifth Ave, a Holt Renfrew, a Nordstrom. I don't live anywhere near these boutiques. So people who live near boutiques and department stores are very, very lucky in that they can kind of go like after work one day or on the weekend, they can go shopping with their friends, they can spend some time at the perfume counter and they can revisit those perfumes. I don't have that luxury. I literally get to the perfume counter like once every 4 to 6 months if I'm lucky. For me, it's a little bit harder because I'm at the store, I'm smelling a perfume and I like it. I don't know if I love it, but at the same time, I don't want to walk away empty-handed because what if I do end up really loving it and then I can't get it, especially some perfumes that don't ship to Canada or they're a lot harder to get in Canada. So that's a little bit more of a difficult aspect of shopping for me. To amend this, I think in the future I'm not going to buy perfumes when I'm on vacation because this has happened a few times, you guys. I'm sure you've noticed if you've watched my channel. When I've gone on vacation, I've purchased a perfume thinking, oh, this is so beautiful, it's great, it's going to commemorate my trip. Every time I wear it, I'm going to think about my trip. And then I get home and I'm like, if I just would have given it some more time, I probably wouldn't have purchased this perfume. So that's something I think in the future, I am not going to make an attempt to buy a perfume on vacation because 9 times out of 10 I get home and I end up decluttering that perfume. It just is not what I thought that it was. So that's my amendment for buying too quickly. Okay, point number 3, and Carmen actually mentioned this in her video. This was the very first point that she talked about that I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's me. I do this all the time. And this is not feeling like I really own a perfume if I only have a decant or a tester or a travel size. So for some reason, a lot of us feel like we don't really own the perfume unless we have the full bottle. And I'm so guilty of this because I love big bottles. And when it comes to perfume, it's not just the scent inside, it's also the presentation, it's the packaging, it's holding the fragrance, it's displaying the fragrance, it's how beautiful it looks on a perfume counter or on my dresser. And I suppose it's like somebody driving a car. We don't just want speed and functionality, we also want like a spiffy looking car that looks nice and that we feel good driving and we like how it looks in our driveway. So it's kind of really no different than anything else. People don't buy a handbag because it holds stuff, they buy a handbag because it looks beautiful. So I think this is a trait that will not really leave me, unfortunately. I do love the look of bottles. I do love the way full bottles look, but to amend this, something I've started doing is to get more travel sizes of perfume. So if it's not a perfume that I'm like, I absolutely need a huge bottle, I'm gonna wear this all the time, but it's a perfume that I like enough that I still want it in my collection, I've been trying to talk myself into getting just travel sizes or even like an 8ml decant from a place like Royalty Scents so that I can at least have the perfume in my collection without having to spend hundreds of dollars potentially on a full bottle. So that is something that's definitely been helpful for me. Point number 4 is getting bored of perfumes or seasonally going in and out of liking a perfume and then decluttering it too quickly when I really should have just put it in storage. This has happened to me a few times. If you guys watch my channel, you know that I do a lot of declutters on this channel, and one perfume that I decluttered that I really wish I wouldn't have was my Delina Exclusive. So that perfume was a favorite. I absolutely loved it. And for some reason, all of a sudden one day it was just too much. It was just too heavy. It was giving me a bit of a headache. I was kind of sick of it. I didn't want to smell it again. I went from being obsessed with it to not wanting to smell it at all. And I wish I would have just taken that perfume and put it away in storage or put it in a box somewhere and just come back to it later. And I'm a very organized, decluttering kind of person. I don't like keeping clutter around. So my mentality is always, if I'm not using it, I should let it go. And that's what I do with everything else in my house. And it works really well because the rest of my house is always clutter-free. I don't have extras of things. I don't have stuff sitting around that doesn't get used. But perfume's a little bit different because you can go in and out of liking a perfume in a matter of weeks or months, depending on your body, your hormones, the season, the weather, just how you feel. There's lots of different things that can affect how you feel about perfume. So sometimes putting them away in storage is the best thing to do, not necessarily decluttering them. So in the future, to amend this, if I have a perfume that I previously really liked and I just kind of feel like I don't really know how I feel about that perfume anymore, I'm not really loving it as much, instead of decluttering it and going right to, I think I'm going to declutter it, I'm just going to put it away and revisit it. That actually happened with my Alien perfume. I'm really glad that I didn't get rid of my Alien perfume because there was a period of time when I was not reaching for Alien and I thought maybe I'm past it. Maybe I've gotten tired of Alien and I don't need it anymore. But I'm really glad I didn't let it go because it still is one of my all-time favorite perfumes and I'd probably would have repurchased it. Okay, number 5 is feeling like I need to own or discuss on my channel every perfume that other people are owning or discussing on their channels, and new releases and things like that. So for example, if there's a trending niche perfume or designer perfume, I feel like, oh, I should get that so I can talk about it with my audience. But this is a really bad business model because that can become very expensive and very wasteful, and not every trending perfume or every new release is going to be something I'm going to like. So I often will try to do videos where I touch on that perfume, like for example the new Prada Paradox. I did talk about it in a video, but I don't really want to buy it just to talk about it because I don't like that perfume. So I have to really find a balance between, yes, I have a channel, but also I'm a human being with limited funds and I can't just buy every single perfume that's released. So to amend this, I try to just buy perfumes that I personally feel will be great for me, or perfumes that I really do want to share with my audience, not just perfumes that are trending. So I try to buy perfumes that I have a higher chance of being something I'll actually like, especially if there's a new release, like the new Parfum de Marly Valaya. This perfume could go either way for me. I think there's a good chance I'm going to like it. So I probably will end up getting that one and reviewing it for you guys. I can't go smell it because I don't live near a place that sells it. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage there, but that's an example of a perfume that I think there's a pretty high probability I could like because I typically like a lot of Parfum de Marly. So that's one that I feel is safer, but I'm not going to do that with every single new release. Number 6 is a little bit more of an interesting one, and this is talking myself into liking popular perfumes just because they're popular. And I think that this happens to a lot of us. You have a much better chance of feeling like you like something just because it's trending. This happens with perfume all the time. So for example, Le Labo Santal 33, I sampled it, didn't think it was for me. I still ended up buying a bottle a few months later, even though I knew I didn't like it, because it was super popular and I thought, I can grow to like it. Maybe I will like it. So this pressure happens from seeing it in people's videos and seeing it hyped up on different platforms. Luckily, I'm not on TikTok, so I don't see people hyping things on TikTok. I actually really can't stand TikTok, just between you and me. But that was a perfume that I did purchase because I saw it everywhere. And I thought, I can grow to like this. This is a very posh perfume. This is a very elegant perfume. Trying to make myself like a perfume. The same thing happened with Baccarat Rouge 540. I purchased a sample, didn't get the hype. I still ended up purchasing a bottle later on because I saw that it was likable and I wanted to love it. And that was a perfume that did take me on a bit of a roller coaster. Luckily, these days, I genuinely like that perfume. I legit enjoy it and I think it smells beautiful, but it took me a long time to actually get there with that perfume. But that was another one that I basically tried to make myself like because everybody else liked it. So that's another thing that I've learned, is to try not to talk myself into liking a perfume just because it's popular. And to amend this, again, I'm just trying to make conscious decisions and well thought out decisions that are based on my own taste and not based on what is trending at the moment or what everybody else seems to love. Number 7 is blind buying perfumes that are expensive or not expensive that I've never smelled before. So realistically, the chances that you're going to love a blind buy perfume is very, very low. If you think about how many different notes are out there, all the different scent profiles, if you think about the fact that just because there's a note profile that has notes you typically like, it doesn't mean you're going to like the perfume. If you think about how multifaceted perfume is and how individual we are, what are the chances that you're going to love that perfume if you blind buy it? Pretty low, honestly, pretty low. And I've had some really bad blind buy fails this year already, you guys, that I'm going to share with you that should have been great. They had good reviews, they had notes that I liked, they should have been great, and they ended up completely bombing for me. So I'll share those in another video. But this is something that I do a lot. I end up spending $100, $200, sometimes even $300 on a perfume just because it's hyped up and the notes look like it's going to work for me. And this is a habit that I'm really going to try hard to fix this year. And the best way to amend that is to get samples. So sometimes it can be difficult to have patience, get samples, try perfumes first, but that really will save you so much headache and so much money, because then you can really tell, is this something I would like or is this something I wouldn't like? And you can still share it with people. You can still talk about it if you have a perfume channel and share the sample and say, yes, this is full bottle worthy. I'm definitely getting a full bottle of this. We don't always have to have that big bottle obsession, that full bottle obsession where it's just so tempting to hop on the train and purchase the bottle. That's something I really need to work on. And yeah, that's about it for number 7. So let me know if you can relate to blind buying expensive perfumes you've never smelled. Number 8 is huge hauls and dopamine rushes, and the fact that perfume purchasing can be a little bit addictive. So rather than getting enjoyment from wearing our perfumes, we instead get a high from actually purchasing the perfumes. Seeing that shipped email, seeing that your perfume is out for delivery email, receiving the perfume, opening the perfume, spraying the perfume for the first time. A few days or a few weeks later, we're sort of on the hunt again for that next dopamine hit. And Carmen also talked about this in her video, and I can totally relate. For me, ordering a new perfume is almost just as exciting as receiving the perfume, opening it, wearing it, and owning it, which is really bad because it means that you're never going to be content. You're always going to be looking for that next perfume, that next dopamine rush. And perfume, after all, is made to enjoy wearing it. It's made to enjoy the scent. It's made to make you smell good, make you feel good. I love wearing a perfume and getting compliments. That's one of the greatest compliments a person can give me, is saying, hey, you smell really good. I love when that happens. So actually wearing the perfume is what we're meant to enjoy. And I think a lot of people who are not perfume enthusiasts, or they're not perfume connoisseurs, they don't have channels, they're normal people who buy a perfume and they enjoy wearing the perfume, and that's that. But for us who have this as like a hobby, it's that purchase that is also very exciting for us and also gives us that rush that we love about perfume. So in order to amend this, I think the best thing is sometimes just to take a step back and just enjoy your perfumes. And sometimes I will actually just make a cup of coffee and I will literally go sit in my bedroom all alone on a beautiful sunny day and just sit on my floor and just sniff all my perfumes, look at the bottles, enjoy the bottles, hold the bottles, and also like make little lists for myself, like what are my favorites and which ones would I purchase first if I had to do it all over again, and share my love of the perfume with the world. Even if it means talking about the same perfume a few times in a row, that's okay, because that shows we really love the perfume and it's not always about the next greatest thing. Number 9 is one that I personally struggle with and I am always working on, and I'm still working on it, you guys. So you who have been watching my channel from the beginning have seen me ebb and flow with this, from having not very many perfumes, not really thinking I wanted a huge collection, to having tons of perfumes, doing declutters, and eventually trying to get it down to a normal, quote unquote, normal number. And for me, it's never knowing exactly how many perfumes I want and what size of collection is okay for me, and what I'm willing to accept, what I'm willing to work with. Do I want 20 perfumes? Do I want 10 perfumes? Am I okay with having 100 perfumes? Being that I have a perfume channel, I think I kind of have to come to terms with the fact that it's okay if I do have a larger collection, because it's not like I don't do anything with that collection. I share it with people. I recommend perfumes to people. Perfume is ultimately my hobby, and it's not much different than somebody who collects stamps, or I don't know if anybody still does collect stamps, but collecting stamps, collecting coins, collecting sports memorabilia, being into makeup, people who like to hunt, and so they have lots of hunting gear. I mean, I don't think that it's a bad thing to have lots of something that is a hobby that brings you joy. If that's your hobby, I think people should go with it and enjoy it. And so for me, it's always been a struggle between having a normal, small, minimalist, organized collection to just allowing it to be a hobby, because that's something I've never really done for myself. I've never just said, okay, just have as many perfumes as you like. It's your hobby. That's something I've never allowed myself to do. I've always constantly tried to keep it to like a manageable number. And it doesn't really make much sense to buy 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 perfumes only to later on go do a huge declutter and get rid of most of those perfumes. That being said, because I do have a channel, a lot of companies send me perfumes, so I do end up with a lot of perfumes that I can't possibly keep all of them. It would just be too much. I would never wear them. It doesn't make sense. A lot of them don't work out for me, and I also blind buy perfumes. So it really makes sense for somebody like myself to do periodic declutters and to cull down my collection, and that's something I'm probably not going to stop doing. But it is something that I'm trying to be a little bit more cognizant of, is to not to declutter just for the sake of keeping it small. If I love a perfume, I'm going to really try to allow myself to just keep it because I love the perfume, not because, does it fit into my 20? Does it fit into my 40? Does it fit into my 50? It just doesn't make much sense, because later on I end up missing that perfume and I end up wanting it back. The wonderful thing about perfumes is that there are literally hundreds of scents to discover out there, and they make you feel and smell amazing. And perfume is probably one of the most wonderful hobbies. It's probably one of the most fun hobbies, you guys, because there are so many different types of perfumes, and even a single note or a single accord can change a perfume entirely and make it something totally different, totally unique, and really beautiful. So it's just like the most fun, enjoyable thing. And it's also very sensory. You know, it feels good, it smells good, it's enjoyable, it's something we like. Yeah, so I really love perfume as a hobby, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop purchasing and discovering. It's just something I can't see myself stopping. I just love it that much. Okay, and number 10, and the final toxic perfume trait that I have, is making purchases blindly based on notes and reviews. And I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but you really can't decide if you will have a good chance of liking a perfume just based on the notes. Sometimes you can be a little bit more definite and more definitive about that. But for example, I usually don't like labdanum, leather, tobacco, oud. A lot of those sort of heavier, deeper notes don't end up working out for me. Cinnamon, rum, those kind of things just are not some of my most liked notes. But there is the odd perfume that features labdanum as one of its main accords, or leather as one of its main accords, and I absolutely love that perfume. And I actually had that happen with a perfume purchase recently that I made just a few days ago. I never, ever, ever would have blind purchased this perfume, and I love it. I cannot get enough, and it has labdanum as one of its main notes. So that's something that I'm really trying to work on, is have a more open mind when it comes to perfume, and try not to get so like putting myself in a box about, oh, I don't like this type of accord, I don't like that kind of note, I would never like this, and just have like a more open mind, and also try not to be too influenced by other people. So I'm really trying to have a more open mind, try not to make purchases based on if somebody else said they love it or don't like it, whether it's on YouTube or a friend, and also try not to make perfume purchases or judgments based on the notes. Because yeah, there's a lot of perfumes out there that you really cannot judge the book by the cover. You could look at a note profile and say, theoretically, that note profile is perfect for me. I actually recently purchased Blanche Bette, which I will talk about in another video, and it bombed. It did not work for me. I'll talk about that more in a video coming up, but that was one of my most recent purchase fails. It was blind, it should have worked, the notes were great, everything about it looked phenomenal, the reviews were perfect, everybody seemed to love it. I physically cannot wear that perfume. It does not work for me. So that's just an example, and that is my 10th toxic trait, is purchasing perfumes based on notes and reviews. So that was it for today's video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about my 10 toxic traits that I feel like I have. Again, I do want to give video credit to Carmen Scentrix. I will put a link to her channel and her video down in the description box below, and thank you so much to her for this video idea. This was such a fun thing to talk about, and I would love to hear your guys' ideas in the comments down below. And do you feel that you relate to any of these things as well, or do you have toxic perfume traits of your own that maybe we haven't talked about? So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.